Yo, this will talk with you. Welcome to the locker room. We talk nothing but basketball. If you want to be part of the locker room, you have to be part of the team. In order for you to be part of the team, you have to subscribe and share the video to not only be part of the team in the locker room, but to also be a part of our daily basketball conversations. Yesterday was a calm night from the NBA. There was nothing really going on, but some players made, things possible, and they made things to start going, crazy. What happened was there was not much games on yesterday. And then the games that I expected to be nice, that everybody would expect to be nice, the star players sat out. For example, the Jazz and Bucks game, we had Giannis sat out, Chris Middleton sat out, but the Bucks ended up winning by a huge amount of points. Drew Holiday finally came back. Brook Lopez is back, and like I said, they won convincingly. They had Bobby Porter starting and Javon Carter starting, and it was a blowout. I mean, the first half, it looked like the Bucks were gonna have like some problems with the Jazz, but they might still win because it's the Bucks. But at the end of the day, it was like 120 something to like 95 or something like that. It was fake embarrassing. Our next game of the night, the Mavericks Cavs game. Now this game was weird because it's another one of those games where the star player did not play. Luka Doncic sat out, and Spencer Dinwiddie sat out for the Mavericks. The Cavs had all their players playing, and this game went to overtime, and it was only 100-99. Kemba Walker came back, and obviously it's not his debut in the Mavericks, but this is the first game where he controlled everything, and he came out, had 19 points in the first half, ended the game with 32, and they could have won the game, honestly. Christian Wood, I think, had like 20 and 10, and they just did not have enough. If Luka was playing, they probably would have won the game. But because Luka was not there, they had to rely more on defense, and so did the Cavs. And, it ended up being a very, very low-scoring game. I think in the fourth quarter it was like 87-83. And then at the end of the fourth, end of the game, before OT, it was like 96-96. So in overtime, one team scored 3 points and the other one only scored 4. That's an overtime. And overtime is 5 minutes. There was a lot of missed shots. I think Donovan Mitchell missed like his first 8 3-point attempts, but he made them when they mattered the most. Like I said, Kemba came out hot. Without him, I feel like, the Mavericks would not have had a chance. And we had some bad shots that were also taken that should not have been, took by certain people or from certain places on the floor. And overall, it was just like a very weird, like scrappy game where everybody was scrambling for the ball. Everybody was, scrambling to get a bucket. Like every possession was like very, very scrappy, and anything could happen. Shout out to the Cavs though; they won the game. Darius Garland came out in the first half. He was like calm, and then Donovan Mitchell had like 25 points. Like I said, he missed his first 8 3-point attempts. In the fourth quarter, Mitchell and Darius Garland turned it up. Mitchell hit like a couple of clutch buckets. Darius Garland hit some of the clutchest buckets, took him to OT, and he hit like a shot or two in OT to basically ice the game for them. And I like the fact that he was able to do that, and Mitchell was able to back off and understand that, okay, Garland got it going, let me just let him do what he got to do. And when Mitchell was doing his thing, was like, okay, Garland was like, let me let Mitchell do what he's doing, because he clearly got it. That shows chemistry, and that can go a long way. Especially now at this point in the season, we're about to enter like the 40 game marks, the 50 game mark. We're about to hit All-Star weekend, and after that is like a fight for seeding in the playoffs, a fight for trying to make it to the play-in, and then depending on where you are seeded in the playoffs, in your matchups, things like this can go a long way. Our next game and our last game of the night, we had the Phoenix Suns and the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, the last time these two teams came together, Zion had the 360 windmill dunk that he did, and it was a huge topic, especially around the Suns. Ever since then, the Suns have been the most hated team in the NBA. We had Chris Paul, who basically attacked Jose Alvarado's throat or neck. We had Zion, who honestly didn't say anything disrespectful. And even last night, I'm gonna continue to speak about what actually happened in the game, but I'm actually like starting to grow on Zion, because it's like the way he comes off, he's not cocky, he's not like, one of those players like we saw Jose Alvarado being mad disrespectful towards Chris Paul, and vice versa. We saw Chris Paul saying things about Alvarado, like nothing disrespectful completely, but it was like, some shots being thrown from both sides, and Zion just comes down. He's like, honestly, I understand why they were mad, da da da. And then yesterday he was like, shout out to Book for what he did this time, the third. Like, he's giving credit, he's understanding why things are how they are, but he also understands at the end of the day you gotta play till the clock is 0-0, and between these two teams there is some type of rivalry. There are some feelings. I mean, the Pelicans were knocked out of the playoffs, by the Suns, so obviously there's gonna be back and forth. And in the first quarter it was like 21-20. Suns had the lead. After that, Suns did not see the lead for a while. And the second quarter, Booker basically ended the half with like 20 points, 22 points. And, the Suns were still down by a lot. We get to the third, the Booker got 30 points, and the Suns are down by 24 points. And all I could think about is the flashbacks from 2017, 2018, where Booker would go off of 40, 30 points, and the Suns would be down by 50, 40, 30, 20 points. Like, no matter how many points Booker scored, we were just losing, and it was just like so depressing. And then out of nowhere, Book just takes over the game. The Suns defense locks in, and Book goes off for 25 straight points. Nobody else on the Suns scored for like a good while. Like, Booker had 25 straight points and nobody else scored. And he ended the game with 58 points. Ended the third quarter with 43 points. He had a nice 15 points in the fourth to basically give the Suns this win. And Chris Paul, clutch three. I mean, the Suns needed that three. They were basically up by 1 or 2, and he hits that three, puts them up by 4, and no matter what the Pelicans did after that, it was like it's over. It's basically a 2-possession game. Even if they hit a three, there's enough time for the Suns to do what they got to do. And Mikal Bridges contributed with a steal and 15 points. Clutch steal on Zion. We needed that. That was an important defensive stop. We had, Chris Paul had a couple of threes this game. He ended the game with 18 points. This is the Chris Paul that we wanted. This is the Chris Paul that we've been looking for. I don't know what was going on in the beginning of the season, but I am so happy he's starting to, get it to click. Something is finally working for him. DeAndre Ayton's obviously out. Cameron Payne is out. Cameron Johnson is out. I mean, the whole Suns bench is out. Andrew Shaman came back. I'm so happy he did not take, Josh Okogie's minutes, because he's been showing up. Even yesterday's game, he had in one possession, I think it was in the fourth quarter, he had 3 or 4 offensive rebounds back to back on the same possession. The Suns were, on the same side of the court. And I think it led to an N1 from Devin Book. Zion ended the game with 30 points. He went 12 for 15. CJ McCollum ended the game with 27. He went 11 for 19, I think, or 12 for 19. But he had 20 or 23 of those points in the first half. So he went quiet in the second half. He started missing his shots in the second half. And on top of that, Book went 21 for 35 overall shooting, 6 for 12 from 3, and 15 for 23 from the field. And he went 10 for 15 from the free throw line. Now, I wish he would have made more free throws. I wish he would have made all 15. And obviously, I wish he would have made one more of those threes. And some of those threes, he had his foot on the line or his toe on the line. They counted as a 2. I wish he would have stepped back a little more. You know what I'm saying? Get him a nice 65 point game. Honestly, if Book would have made a couple of more shots and some of those 2-pointers were counted as 3s and not 2s, he would have another 70-point game yesterday. We had LeBron James and Jason Tatum. Give him a shout out on Twitter, Book is cooking. But in reality, I know why LeBron was doing it. LeBron was watching the game because they got to face the Suns tomorrow. And obviously Booker is hot right now. I mean, he's had two 50-point games this season. He had like 2 or 3 40-point games this season. He went on a like scoring streak where he had 30 to 38 points for like, I don't know how many games straight, but it was like 5-6 games straight. I mean, Book has been turning up this season. And I'm so happy that he doesn't look rushed from the hamstring tightness that he was suffering a couple of games ago. Torrey Craig went like 0 for 3 from 3. He was basically useless last night. I don't even think he grabbed the amount of rebounds Torrey usually grabs. He was like so out of place, and I think that's his first or second game back, so it's understandable, but that was crazy. But anyways, yeah, that's enough for me rambling. It's time for y'all. Let me know what you guys think below. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. This is Real Talker E, and it's time to leave the locker room. I'm gonna catch y'all. Safety.